You're not broke. You're programmed that way. You've checked your bank account 3 times today. Not because you're expecting money, because you're hoping the number changed. It didn't. And here's the part nobody tells you. That's not a money problem. That's a mind problem. Because somewhere between the family dinner table and your first paycheck, you were handed a financial blueprint. Nobody asked if you wanted it. Nobody told you it was there, but it's been running your life ever since. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what that blueprint looks like, where it came from, and how to rewrite it. The program running in the background. Think about the first things you ever heard about money. Maybe it was, rich people are greedy. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. You were 6 years old. You didn't choose those beliefs. They were installed in you by parents who were doing their best with their own broken programming. And right now, today, every financial decision you make is being filtered through that old inherited code. When you get paid, your body relaxes. When money gets low, anxiety hits before logic does. When someone offers you an opportunity, the first voice you hear says, "That won't work for someone like me." That's not you, that's the program, and you've been running it for decades without knowing it had a name. The invisible ceiling. Here's something wild. Most people fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they have an invisible ceiling, a subconscious cap on how much they believe they're allowed to have. Watch what happens when someone who grew up poor suddenly earns good money. Within months, sometimes weeks, it's gone. They buy things they don't need, they lend money they can't afford to lend, they self-sabotage in ways they can't explain. Not because they're irresponsible, because wealth felt unfamiliar, and the brain always returns to what feels familiar. Psychologists call it the set point, the level of wealth, or lack thereof, that feels normal to you. If your set point is low, no strategy will keep you wealthy until you raise the set point first. The scarcity script. Here's what a scarcity mindset actually does to your financial decisions. It doesn't make you careful, it makes you defensive. You hoard cash because spending feels dangerous. You avoid investing because risk feels irresponsible. You say no to things that could grow you because your brain is wired to protect what little you have. Scarcity doesn't make you smart, it makes you small. And the cruel irony is, you can save every dollar, watch every expense, cut every pleasure, and still stay broke. Because saving more of a small income doesn't build wealth, it builds a very tidy version of being stuck. Real wealth isn't built by shrinking your life, it's built by expanding your thinking. The safety illusion. Here's a belief that sounds responsible, but slowly kills your financial future. I just want to be safe. Safety feels wise, but in the context of wealth, playing safe is one of the most expensive decisions you can make. The person who keeps their savings in a fixed deposit for 10 years feels safe every single day, but inflation is silently eating their money, 20–30% of its real value, gone. Safety isn't the absence of risk, safety is managed risk. The question is never, should I take a risk? The question is, which risk is worth taking? Because you're already taking a risk right now. You're risking your future by standing still. Why work hard is incomplete advice. You were told, work hard and you'll be rewarded. And that's not wrong, but it's dangerously incomplete. Hard work is the floor, not the ceiling. The person working 3 jobs to survive is working incredibly hard. The person building a business that runs without them is also working hard, but they understood something different. There's a difference between working for money and building systems that make money work for you. Trading time for money has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day. But leveraging skills, assets, or businesses, that has no ceiling. The program most people inherit says, be a good worker. What it should say is understand how value is created and position yourself on the right side of it. Emotional spending versus identity spending. There are 2 kinds of purchases you make. The first kind is emotional spending. You're stressed, you're bored, you're numb, so you buy something. Not because you need it, because it feels like control when everything else feels chaotic. The second kind is identity spending. This is when you buy to prove something to your friends, your family, the algorithm, or worse, to yourself. The car you can't afford, the vacation you put on a card, the lifestyle that looks wealthy on the outside while quietly hollowing out your future. You're not buying products, you're buying the feeling of being someone you haven't become yet. And every rupee spent on a performance of wealth is a rupee you can't use to build the real thing. Comparison is a poverty trap. Nobody talks about this one enough. Every time you buy something because someone else has it, you're not making a financial decision, you're making an emotional one. And emotional decisions made with financial consequences almost always lose. Social comparison is engineered into everything around you. Instagram, WhatsApp statuses, office conversations, all of it quietly whispering, "You're behind, you need to catch up." And so you spend to close a gap that isn't even real. The person you're comparing yourself to, they might be in debt, they might be performing wealth just like you. You're both broke trying to impress each other. Wealthy people don't compete with their neighbors, they compete with their own previous best. The moment you stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel is the moment your money starts actually moving somewhere meaningful.
The relationship between self-worth and net worth. This is the part people don't want to hear. Your current income is a near-perfect reflection of what you subconsciously believe you're worth. If you believe deep down that you're a $20,000 a month person, you'll find a way to stay at $20,000, even when a $50,000 opportunity walks in. You'll underprice your services. You'll accept less than you deserve in negotiations. You'll minimize yourself in rooms where you should take up space, not because you lack skill, because your identity hasn't expanded to match your potential. Raise your internal standard, not with affirmations alone, but by making decisions that someone at that next level would make, consistently, before the results show up. The income follows the identity, not the other way around. You avoid what you fear, and that avoidance costs you. How many times have you ignored a bill, avoided opening your banking app, postponed learning about investing because it felt overwhelming? Avoidance feels like relief in the moment, but financially, avoidance is compound interest in reverse. Every problem you don't face grows. Every decision you delay gets more expensive. Every conversation about money you avoid is a negotiation you lose by default. The wealthy are not necessarily smarter, but they are more willing to look. They look at the numbers even when the numbers are bad. They open the statements. They ask the hard questions. They sit with discomfort instead of running from it, because discomfort now is always cheaper than disaster later. Awareness is the first financial advantage. Here's something no financial advisor will charge you for. Awareness is the most underrated wealth tool in existence. Not a stock tip, not a new app, not a side hustle. Awareness. The moment you catch yourself making a financial decision from fear instead of strategy, that's the moment your financial life starts to change. Most people never catch it. They just react, buy, avoid, freeze, and wonder where the money went. But once you see the pattern, once you notice that you shop when you're anxious, or that you avoid your balance like it's a person you owe money to, you can't unsee it. And that gap between the impulse and the action is where every wealthy person lives. Rewriting the program. So how do you actually change this? Not by reading one book, not by one motivational video, not even by this one. You change it by acting like the person you want to become before you feel ready. You check the numbers even when they're uncomfortable. You invest a small amount even when it feels insignificant. You say no to one identity purchase this week and notice that nothing bad happens. You price your work higher, even once, and see that the world doesn't end. Every one of those small actions sends a new signal to your subconscious. I'm a someone who handles money differently now. Reprogramming isn't a dramatic event. It's a boring, consistent daily choice to respond differently than you were trained to. The real first step. You don't fix your money situation first. You fix the thinking that created it. Start noticing. Notice when you avoid looking at your balance. Notice when you make a purchase to feel better instead of to grow. Notice when you dismiss an opportunity before thinking it through. That noticing, that tiny act of catching yourself, is worth more than any financial strategy in any book. Because every wealthy person didn't just learn how money works, they first unlearned what they'd been taught about it. In the beautiful, terrifying, liberating truth, what was programmed into you can be reprogrammed by you. If something clicked in this video, if you felt even one line land like it was written for you, you already know what to do. People who build wealth consistently are the ones who show up consistently. Hit subscribe. It's the first low-cost, high-return investment you'll make today. But here's where it gets interesting. Even after the mindset shifts, even when you start earning more, spending smarter, thinking differently, there's one more trap waiting. And it doesn't look like failure. It looks like stability, a decent job, a steady salary, just enough comfort to stop pushing. The next video is called The Middle Class Trap Nobody Talks About, and it's about how a comfortable life can quietly become the most expensive financial mistake you ever make. Watch it next, especially if you feel like you're doing okay. That feeling? That's exactly what we need to talk about.